Let's quickly revisit this slide because I want to reveal something pretty cool about the dynamic between color and value. It's certainly true that color can only work when your values are working, but when you have values that work, the upshot is you can actually do almost anything you want with color and it will work. For example, here's a head painting by an artist named Stan Miller. The colors are completely crazy. There are purples next to greens, next to grays, next to oranges, next to yellows. I mean, Stan Miller has shoveled every color he could find into that painting. But it works, right? The painting works. It's a great painting of an old man. It has character. It has great light, very convincing planes. The light and shadow families are strong, and that's exactly the point. The values are what is holding this picture together, not the color. We tend to be blinded by the use of color, seduced by it even, that we forget to look underneath the hood, so to speak, and understand that it's the values that make even something as crazy as this work. Now, by contrast, here's a painting that has all the tells of an inexperienced painter. Now, of course, I don't mean to disparage inexperienced painters in any way. We all go through that stage, okay? And it's a beautiful thing to learn how to progress from that stage. But having taught many painting classes and also having had many failures myself, I find it really interesting that inexperienced painters seem to produce the same kind of look in their paintings. I don't know the artist who painted this, but I have seen paintings that look identical to that over and over. And I would submit to you that the issue stems from not knowing how to correctly diagnose what the problem is. And I hear lamentations like, oh, I just don't know how to mix skin tones. I don't know how the flesh looks in light and shadow. I can't seem to pick the right colors. 90% of self-diagnoses always surround color. But this painting doesn't actually suffer from a color problem. This painting suffers from a value problem. So I spent about 6 minutes and did this. And you can see how it's a remarkably better painting with values now driving the show. I didn't change a single color. Okay, I just added a clear fence line between light and shadow family and made sure those two families had fairly decent shapes. Now, is it the best painting ever? No, I would still like to adjust smaller shapes. Like if I were to completely fix this, I mean, there are still anatomy problems and drawing problems, but that's beside the point. I just wanted to reinforce that no color change could have made nearly the impact that this value change did. And I want you guys to keep that in mind as you're painting and evaluating your paintings. Everything we talked about last week on values is going to be underneath anything you do in color. Now, having said all this, yes, color does behave according to an agenda, let's say, and this week is largely looking into that and uncovering its mysteries. So on that note, let's start talking color.